premises now where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is casting his vote in the vice presidential elections. We're getting you live visuals from the Parliament House where Prime Minister is going to cast his vote for the vice presidential elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to be here to cast his vote in the vice presidential election 2025. We're getting you live visuals from the Parliament House. In fact, the polling will take place in the Vasudha Hall at the Parliament House, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be casting his vote from a short while from now, declaring the polling process open after the Prime Minister cast his vote. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be casting the very first vote in the vice presidential elections 2025, and with that single ballot, the polling process will begin officially inside the Parliament. In fact, to tell you, according to Article 66 of the Indian Constitution, the Vice President is elected by an electoral college made up entirely of MPs from the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and each member will be voting by the secret ballot, ranking candidates in order of preference to ensure fair representation. Also, with the NDA and coalition partners commanding a clear majority of 423 MPs, where 293 are from Lok Sabha, 130 from Rajya Sabha. C.P. Radhakrishnan is the vice presidential candidate, and he'll be entering the contest with a significant edge over the opposition. In fact, votes are cast using the single transferable vote system, as part of which each MP ranks candidates and votes are redistributed until a candidate achieves the required majority quota. Around 782 MPs, 543 Lok Sabha and 233 elected. 12 nominated Rajya Sabha members will participate this year, ensuring every vote holds weight in the outcome. And we have DD India's Debyendu Mondal joining us for more on the phone line. Well, Debyendu, stage is set for the high-stake polls, with voting taking place today and the NDA holding a numerical advantage in the parliament. Tell us more about the voting today.
Well, Dipakshi, that's right. You know, the vice presidential election has, in fact, it is supposed to begin at 10 a.m. We believe the first vote will be cast by the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister is expected to cast his vote in a short while from now. The stage is all set, as we were already saying, with the contest being keenly watched and fought between the NDA's C.P. Radhakrishnan and the India Alliance's B. Sudarshan Reddy. But of course, numerical advantage is of course with C.P. Radhakrishnan, because the fact that the numbers are stacked in favor of him, and we have, it is expected that the NDA would have more than 431 votes out of the 782 polled in favor of C.P. Radhakrishnan. So therefore, it's a clear edge for C.P. Radhakrishnan as far as the election of this vice president is concerned. And this election is expected to close by 5 p.m. where all the parliamentarians, including both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, are expected to vote. And in the vice presidential election, both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha MPs, including the nominated MPs who are nominated by the president, are eligible to cast their vote in this particular election. So therefore, the voting process begins at 10 a.m. this morning, and it's already 10 a.m. and the voting process has opened for this, and the voting is taking place inside the Parliament complex. In fact, inside the new Parliament building where both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha sit. This time around, the General Secretary of the Rajya Sabha, in fact, the Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha has been made as the returning officer, is overseeing the entire voting process this time around, and the results of this is expected to come around 6:30 to 7 p.m. This evening, because the counting is expected to begin at about 6 p.m. This evening, Vipakshi.
Also, Dibyendu, the outcome will not only fill the second highest constitutional post in the country, but also signal the relative influence of the political alliances in the parliament right now. Throw some light on the vice presidential post.
Well, Vipakshi, you see, all the NDA parties that are part of the NDA poll, including the PDP, the JDS, the LGP of Chirag Paswan, have thrown their weight for CP Radhakrishnan, and it is a coherent NDA, with the NDA showing its strength. We had seen for the last 2 days there were workshops being held for the NDA parties in the parliament, inside the parliament building, and we did see Prime Minister Narendra Modi also attending that and sitting throughout that entire session that was held both yesterday as well as day before yesterday. So therefore, the NDA, all the NDA parties that are part of the NDA government have shown their weight in favor of CP Radhakrishnan, and apart from that, the YSRCP of the Andhra Pradesh, this is a party that is led by Jagan Mohan Reddy. He leads the YSRCP, and they have also shown their support for the NDA candidate CP Radhakrishnan. While two other political parties, important political parties, one from Telangana and the other from Odisha. One is BJD, Biju Janata Dal, as well as the BRS of Telangana, have decided to abstain from the vote, clearly not siding with any of the either the NDA or the India Alliance, and they expected, they have said that they would be neutral and they would abstain from this vote. So of course, a lot of political changes could perhaps occur after the vice presidential election is over, because it will be interesting to see why BRS and BJD decided to fence it and abstain from this particular election. So therefore, a lot of political alliances could perhaps change once the voting process of the vice president is over.
All right, you're talking about a number of political alliances, Dibyendu. How do you think this context is going to look like, considering the current numbers?
Well, Vipakshi, it's a clear, as you had also been stating, it's a clear numerical edge for the NDA candidate CP Radhakrishnan, because they have over 430 members that are going to support the NDA candidate in this particular election, and the alliance has roughly about 390 to 392, if I am correct, the support that they have. So therefore, there is a difference of about 90. There's a difference of about 90 votes between the India Alliance candidate as well as the NDA candidate. So therefore, numerically, the NDA candidate CP Radhakrishnan is much ahead in the race, and therefore it's just a matter of time when he will be, announced and declared formally as the next vice president of India. So therefore, the numbers are all in favor, and he is expected to win comfortably with a comfortable majority in this particular election that is currently, as we speak, underway in the Parliament House complex in New Delhi.
All right, Dibyendu, if you could elaborate as to which party is on which side, because numbers, of course, are in NDA's favor.
Well, Vipakshi, of course, as I said, the PDP, LTP of Chirag Paswan, Chandrababu Naidu's PDP. We have, the JDS from the south. We also have the Janata Dal United of Nitish Kumar from Bihar. We also have the Shiv Sena from Maharashtra. We also have NCP, the Ajit Pawar NCP from Maharashtra. These are all the political parties that are part, in fact, the larger political parties that are part of the NDA alliance. Those will be supporting the NDA candidate C.P. Radhakrishnan. So therefore, the numbers, as I said, are numerically stacked in favor of C.P. Radhakrishnan, while the YSRCP from Andhra Pradesh, that is led by Jagan Mohan Reddy, has decided to support the NDA candidate C.P. Radhakrishnan. So therefore, the number of the MPs significantly increases because YSRCP has about 11 MPs. So therefore, increasing the tally of the NDA to 430 or 431, if I'm not wrong, because there are about in fact this is the total number of MPs, both including the Lok Sabha as well as the Rajya Sabha, because both the members of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha will be casting their vote in this particular election, including the 12 nominated members who are nominated, and they are distinguished members of society. They are nominated by the president. They will also be casting their vote, and all the 12 members have, decided to throw their weight behind C.P. Radhakrishnan for this particular election. So therefore, the numbers are, as I said, is clearly stacked in favor of C.P. Radhakrishnan. While on the other hand, the India Alliance has, multiple, of course, smaller regional political parties apart from the Congress. They have the Samajwadi Party, they have the Trinamool Congress, and the other likes of such smaller regional parties that are in part of the India Alliance that are going to throw their weight behind Doordarshan Reddy. So, the numbers, as I said, as we have been saying since morning, are clearly stacked in favor of C.P. Radhakrishnan, and therefore, this election is just a mere formality.
All right. Debendu, you stay with us and we'll get back to you. In fact, right now, let me tell our viewers about the process of the vice presidential election in India. Well, the vice president is elected by an electoral college consisting of members of both the houses of parliament. The election are held under the system of proportional representation by means of the single transferable vote. Also, the value of every vote cast in the vice presidential election has the same value. Now, presently, the lower house has 542 members and the upper house has 239 members. The electorate for the vice presidential election this time is 781 and the majority mark is at 391. All right, Debendu, for the sake of our viewers, could you elaborate on the voting method? We just, in fact, told our voters a bit about it.
Well, Lipakshi, of course, we have it's a single transferable voting method where each parliamentarian holds one vote, and they will be, casting their ballot. It is done through a paper ballot, and they will be casting their ballot as and when they arrive inside the parliament complex, and all the political parties have, already shown, in fact, showed their support in favor or against of a particular candidate. So therefore, this it's a simple process where each parliamentarian will have one vote that they will cast in favor of one of the candidates, and once the voting is over, the returning officer of this particular election, and in this case it is the Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha, that will announce the end of the election, and after the election is over, then the formal process of counting will begin, and once the counting is over, the results will be announced. So therefore, it is done through a paper ballot, where of course it is a secret ballot. So therefore, one wouldn't get to know who casted which vote and for whom. So therefore, it is a secret ballot, of course. So, this is how this election of the vice president takes place. This is slightly different from how the election of the president takes place, because during the election of the president, the state legislatures also cast their vote, and it is a transferable vote where the weight of the vote from the state legislatures as well as the parliamentarians carries the number of people that they represent, of course, in a proportional representation. So therefore, this the vice president's election is, of course, one vote. Each member carries the weight of one vote. Lipakshi.
All right, Dibyendu, you stay with us and we'll come back to you in a while. Meanwhile, let's tell our viewers that the vice presidential elections have been declared open. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has casted the very first vote in the vice presidential elections 2025, and with that single ballot, the polling process has officially begun inside the parliament. In fact, this act, though procedural, carries immense symbolic weight, and the Prime Minister's early presence there reflects both the discipline and respect for parliamentary tradition. It also sets the tone for the fellow MPs across the party lines, reminding them of the gravity of today's vote. Also, a steady stream of Member of Parliaments is to follow throughout the day, and the voting will continue until 5 p.m., after which the counting will begin at 6 p.m. using the single transferable vote method. And the atmosphere inside the Parliament, of course, is one of anticipation, focus, and every vote is going to matter. Every ballot will carry weight. As we told you, the first vote has been cast by the Prime Minister himself, marking the start of what promises to be an eventful day today in Indian democracy. In fact, traditionally, it is the Prime Ministers who cast the very first vote in the vice presidential elections, and it is a gesture of responsibility and respect for the democratic process, setting the tone for the rest of the day. In fact, as we told you, an eventful day in Indian democracy. All right, we have Dibyendu back with us. Dibyendu, what about the counting? Till when can the results be expected, as voting will continue till 5 p.m. and counting begins at 6? With the final tally and the result announcement to follow soon after under the returning officer's supervision.
Well, of course, Lipakshi, the voting closes at 5 p.m. It is expected that the counting will begin at 6 p.m. and it will just take an hour, or in fact less than an hour, to declare the results. So it is expected that maybe by 7:30 in this evening we would have the new vice president, elected vice president, announced by the Secretary General, who is of course the returning officer in this particular election. So therefore it is expected that by this evening at around 7 to 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, we will have the announcement of the next elected vice president of India. Because of course this election was necessitated, as I had said earlier as well, by after the resignation of the erstwhile Vice President Jagdeep Dhamkar owing to his health reasons, and therefore the election was necessitated. The president had, in fact, the election commissioner, who is responsible for holding elections in India, did announce the election last month itself, and therefore after giving adequate time to both the candidates to campaign, the election was scheduled to be held today, that is, the 9th of September. So therefore, after the election process is completed and all the parliamentarians cast their vote, the counting will begin roughly at about 6 p.m. And it's about about the number of paper ballots that needs to be counted. And after the paper ballots are counted, the election results will be declared by the returning officer, in this case the Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha.
There was a 2-day workshop which was held for all the MPs to train them, known as Sansad Karyashala. Could you tell us about that?
Well, this particular Karyashala workshop, that was undertaken by the NDA was to train a lot of new MPs that have been elected this time around. So therefore, the training perhaps were given in terms of, how to, because in this election as well, if you don't cast your vote properly, your votes can be declared as invalid. So therefore, where to cast the vote, where to put that particular stamp, how to put that stamp, because there is a particular order and protocol as to how the stamp needs to be placed. It cannot, go above the margins. So therefore, there are technical details. So these technical details of polling and how the stamps or how the ballot needs to be folded, how the secrecy needs to be maintained. So all of these instructions and trainings were being given by the senior MPs of the NDA to the newer MPs, and in fact, the Prime Minister also did speak to the MPs and to all the MPs, in fact, of the NDA, and explain them this process. The Prime Minister also did speak in his workshop, to how to reach out to the public, how to reach out to the people, how to explain, the welfare schemes of the government, how to stay connected with the people, how to get the pulse of the people, how to help the people. Because, of course, in a democracy, it is the people that is the king. So therefore, being in touch with the people, the Prime Minister did speak about how the MP should be sympathetic with the people, with the electorate, with the people that they represent. So therefore, and also interestingly, Lipakshi, what we pick up from our sources from within the meeting is, of course, that the Prime Minister also did speak about how the parliamentarians should go through the pointers of the standing committee of the parliament, which is extremely important because the standing committee gives out very important recommendations during their observations to both the houses of parliament and to the ministries on several issues. So therefore, it is a very insightful document. The standing committee reports are very insightful documents that gives you a lot of information about the workings of the ministry, where it needs to be improved, what needs to be done for the welfare of the people. So therefore, the Prime Minister also did apprise the MPs of always going through the standing committee reports before they come to Parliament.
All right, Debyendu, in fact, it will be very interesting for our viewers to know that Vice President of India's office is with perks but no regular salary. In fact, the Vice President of India, the second highest constitutional office in the country, is perhaps the only post that does not enjoy the benefits of a regular salary.
Well, of course, because the Vice President, as per the Constitution, it is a constitutional post, but as per the Constitution, the Vice President's post is a nominal post, and the Vice President gets an allowances and salary as the ex-officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. The Vice President, as per se, doesn't have any entitlements or any regular salary that he can draw from the exchequer, but he's paid a salary and all the other emoluments because and the benefits from as being the ex-officio chairman, because that is the primary duty of the Vice President as per the Constitution, that he will proceed and he will head the proceedings of the Rajya Sabha, which is the upper house. He's of course he represents the upper house. He is the head of the upper house as the chairman. So therefore, it is the Rajya Sabha chairman as the Rajya Sabha chairman. That is how he draws his salary and other benefits and entitlements from the government. But as you rightly said, there is no official salary as per Constitution or any other benefits that the post as per se of the Vice President gets. So of course, this is an interesting fact that all our viewers could perhaps get to know about. Yes, Lipakshi.
This movement also reflects the importance of the ruling coalition attached to the election right now.
Said is another test of how strongly coherent is the NDA alliance, because as I said from the beginning, it is a secret ballot through which the election does happen, and we have seen in the past that there had been many cross votings that do take place in this particular election, and of course you wouldn't get to know who cross voted whom from which political party, because it is a secret ballot. So therefore, and of course, no unitative action, as well as there cannot be any whip. And as a whip, I mean that at times in parliamentary voting, especially when it comes to bills, there is a 3-line whip or a 2-line whip that is issued by the political parties that they have to vote in favor of the bill, and if they don't vote, they can be suspended from the party, because it will be considered as an anti-party activity. But as far as the election of the president and the vice president is concerned, it is a secret ballot, and one cannot, any political party for that matter, cannot issue a whip. So therefore, in the past we have seen many a times many political parties. In fact, some of the members of different political parties have cross-voted, and but it is unlikely to happen in this particular election. But of course, many of the opposition political party leaders are keeping their cards to the chest. But we'll see once the voting, in fact, once the counting is over and we have the exact numbers. But as far as the numbers at the moment is considered, in fact, as it's concerned, so it is expected that the NDA would have somewhere between 430 to 431 votes in their favor. So therefore, if that number increases from 431, then of course, some of the opposition MPs have cross-voted in favor of the NDA candidate. But it'll be interesting to see if any cross-voting do take place this time around.
Vendu, how pivotal is the role of the unaligned MPs, which could shape the perceptions of legitimacy and the cross-party acceptance?
Well, the non-aligned political parties, the two of them, in fact, the three that had been non-aligned, which is the YSRCP, the BRS, and the BJD. One from, in fact, two political parties from the southern states and one from the eastern state. The BJD represents, is a political party that comes from the state of Odisha. It's an eastern state, which, recently saw an overturn of the Biju Janata Dal government of Naveen Patnaik after a very long time. The BJP won this time around with a thumping majority in Odisha. And we had seen historically as well, the BJP had been close to the BJP. They had thrown their weight around to the BJP in the past as well during the crucial bills of Article 370, be it the GST reforms, be it the other constitutional reforms that had taken place over the last 10 years in Parliament. We had seen the BJD, showing their support in favor of the BJP government. But this time around, after, the Naveen Patnaik's government and the BJD was thrown out of power by the BJP, the BJD this time around, because have in fact announced that they will not ally with either the BJP nor with the Congress. So therefore, they remain a fence-sitter. In fact, not anymore a fence-sitter, we could say, because they have clearly announced that they will be abstaining from this particular election. So therefore, that is as far as the BJD is concerned, while on the other hand, the BRS, which is a political party from Telangana, they have announced they have announced that they will be abstaining from this particular election because the natural opponent of the BRS in Telangana is the Congress, because it is currently the Congress government that is in place in Telangana, and the BRS is the primary opposition party in Telangana, so they cannot be clearly seen siding with the Congress because that will hamper their state politics. And the BRS has remained equidistant from both the BJP and the Congress at this point in time, and they have decided to, again abstain. While on the other hand, it is interesting, Dipakshi, to note that the YSRCP, which is the primary opposition party in Andhra Pradesh, this is a political party led by Jagan Mohan Reddy, whereas the political party that is in government in Andhra Pradesh is led by TDP's Chandrababu Naidu, who is a very important alliance member of the BJP. But despite that, the YSRCP has decided to throw their weight around, the NDA candidate CP Radhakrishnan, and he has about 11 MPs in total in the Parliament, and all the 11 MPs are expected to vote in favor of CP Radhakrishnan, bringing up the number of the NDA to roughly about, as I said, from around 430 to 431, if all the MPs come and cast their vote.
All right, Devendu, thank you so much for all those details. And we were showing you visuals from the Parliament where Vice Presidential Election 2025 has just begun, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi casted his first vote and declared the polling open. And right now, time for a short break. We'll be back in a while.
Welcome to Jaipur.
The land of forests, nature's hidden jewel. Jharkhand is a traveler's paradise. Get ready for a sensory extravaganza, complete with ancient traditions and world-class lifestyles, breathtaking scenic beauties and heart-stopping adventure. Thousands of years of faith preserved in magnificent temples, marvels of new age infrastructure.
Can I resist?
An abundance of prehistoric heritage flowing through generations.
I've heard so much about the expertise behind this vibrant Sorai art.
Discover new horizons. Discover yourself. Discover Jharkhand. Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines right now. India's Vice President election 2025 begins with Prime Minister Narendra Modi casting his vote. Election being held between NDA's CP Radhakrishnan and opposition's Sudarshan Reddy. Results expected later today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will review the flood situation in Punjab and Himachal Pradesh to carry out an aerial assessment of affected regions. In Jammu and Kashmir's Kulgam encounter enters the second day after two terrorists gunned down while two soldiers martyred. Sources say at least one more terrorist hiding in the forest. Nepal witnesses fresh protest even as government lifts social media ban. Demonstrators seek PM Oli's dismissal. Curfew continues in the country's capital, Kathmandu. French Prime Minister Francois Bayrou will tender his resignation today after Parliament ousts him. Macron, under pressure to resign, will appoint successor soon. Now let's give you some update from Nepal. Fresh protests continue in Nepal even after the government lifted the social media ban that led to clashes between the protesters and police, in which at least 19 people died and over 347 injured. Protesters were seen blocking roads outside the Nepal Parliament and in Kalanki, among other places. The protesters are demonstrating against what they see as the authoritarian attitude of the government and said they won't stop until Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigns. Also, the Kathmandu District Administration Office imposed an indefinite curfew inside the Ring Road area of the Nepalese capital, reintroducing restrictions just hours after an earlier order was lifted. The previous curfew imposed yesterday, which expired at 5 a.m. today, was replaced by the fresh order taking effect at 8:30 a.m. today morning. Well, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has said he was deeply saddened by the mishap occurred in the Gen Z protest. He promised to form an investigation committee to scrutinize the incident happened during the protest and assured that the family of the deceased will be provided relief and will provide free treatment of the injured. Also, the social media ban came into effect on 4th of September, targeting platforms that had not registered with Nepal's government despite multiple warnings. And this includes popular platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, X and YouTube. The protesters had said that social media ban is a digitally repressive move that curtails free speech and expression. And India is closely monitoring the developments in Nepal since Monday and are deeply saddened by the loss of many young lives. In fact, in a press statement released by the Ministry of External Affairs, India said, "Our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the deceased. We also wish speedy recovery for those who were injured. As a close friend and neighbor, we hope that all concerned will exercise restraint and address any issues through peaceful means and dialogue." We also have taken note that authorities have imposed curfew in Kathmandu and several other cities of Nepal. Indian nationals in Nepal advised to exercise caution and adhere to the steps and guidelines issued by the Nepali authorities. Well, Amritpal Singh joins us with more on the phone line on this. Well, Amrit, India is closely monitoring the developments in Nepal since yesterday, and the MEA has also released a statement. Tell us more about it.
Of course, given that Nepal is our next door neighbor, India is understandably concerned about the developments there. A lot of Nepalese nationals move into India. Indian nationals go there. It's a visa-free regime. So the protests and the resultant deaths and injuries to people and the political upheaval that one is seeing there is understandably a matter of concern for India. So as the Ministry of External Affairs has said, Lipakshi, that India is closely monitoring the developments since yesterday. India has expressed condolences for the families of the deceased and has wished a speedy recovery for those who are injured. 19 by latest counts dead so far, over 400 injured. A curfew has been imposed in Kathmandu till further notice. Assembly gatherings, etc. are not allowed. So therefore, India has advised its Indian nationals in Nepal to exercise caution and adhere to the guidelines issued by the Nepali authorities there. And also, India has called for all sides to exercise restraint and address any issues through peaceful means and dialogue. Also, let me tell you that the security along the Indo-Nepalese border has been heightened. SSB, the Shastra Seema Bal, which guards the border, is on high alert. Given that there could be some anti-social elements, might want to, it could have a spillover effect. So just to be careful about that, the border security has been beefed up and heightened. Lipakshi?
Also, Amrit, various countries have also issued a joint statement over tensions in Nepal.
Lipakshi, could you come again, please? I
was saying that various countries like embassies of Australia, Finland, France, Japan, they've all issued a joint statement over tensions in Nepal.
Oh, that's right. They've asked, they've expressed concern over the developments in Nepal, and these issued a joint statement basically calling for the resolution of the issue through peaceful means and addressing the concerns that the protesters may have on that. So there is understandably a concern about the upheaval that is going on in Nepal at the moment. Lipakshi?
Also, Amrit, India has also tightened security in the border states, and the security agencies have stepped up vigilance there.
As I said, yes, the SSB has, which mans the organization, the police and the border guarding organization, which guards the Indo-Nepalese border, has heightened up security both where battalions of the ITBP are involved, but primarily it's the responsibility of the SSB. They have sent reinforcements and heightened the security measures, lest there be a spillover effect or some anti-social elements may want to sneak in because it's a porous border. It's a visa-free regime, as I said. It touches Bihar, it touches Uttar Pradesh, parts of Uttarakhand. Clearly, India is concerned about what's happening there, and the security along the border has been stepped up and heightened. Dipakshi?
All right. Also, Amrit, intensified patrolling is being undertaken on the highways also, village tracks and the forest routes, especially connecting both the countries.
That's right. All exit routes or entry routes into Nepal are being manned. They are always manned, just that this time around there's extra checking of vehicles, lest there is a movement of illegal arms or ammunition, and lest it turns violent. It already is violent. There is further any kind of movement of illegal arms. Because remember, on the Nepalese border, a lot of smuggling does take place, even in routine. So just to check, any criminal elements may want to take advantage of the fluid situation there. So the roads, the highways are being manned, but also, as I said, it's a porous border. There are small dirt tracks which go through villages. So increased patrolling on that on those routes has also been stepped up, lest there is any criminal activity.
All right, Amrit, thank you so much for all those details. In fact, the embassies of Australia, Finland, France, Japan, the Republic of Korea, the United Kingdom and the United States of America and Nepal have issued a joint statement over tensions in Nepal. On social media X, they said, and I quote, "We deeply saddened by the violence seen in Kathmandu and elsewhere in Nepal today, including the tragic loss of life and injury during demonstrations. We extend our sincere condolences to the families of the victims, all those affected, and wish those injured a swift and full recovery. Our governments reaffirm our strong support for the universal rights of peaceful assembly and freedom of expression. We urge all parties to exercise maximum restraint, avoid further escalation, and ensure that these fundamental rights are protected," unquote. Well, the United Nations also demanded a swift and transparent probe of the violence. UN Rights Office spokeswoman Ravina Shamdasani expressed shock over killings and injury of the protesters.
We are shocked by the killings and injury of protesters in Nepal today and urge a prompt and transparent investigation. We have received several deeply worrying allegations of unnecessary or disproportionate use of force by security forces during protests organized by youth groups that were demonstrating against corruption and the recent government ban on social media platforms. We call on the authorities to respect and ensure the rights of freedom of peaceful assembly and freedom of expression. All security forces must comply with the basic principles on the use of force and firearms by law enforcement officials. Nepal enjoys a lively democracy and active civic space, and dialogue is the best means to address young people's concerns. We urge reconsideration of measures to regulate social media to ensure that they comply with Nepal's human rights obligations.
Meanwhile, security agencies have stepped up vigilance along the Indo-Nepal border following large-scale violent protest in Nepal. Drones were being used for surveillance and additional forces had been deployed to border police stations. Intelligence agencies have been directed to maintain close watch. Intensified patrolling is being undertaken on highways, village tracks and forest routes connecting the two countries. Monitoring systems such as face recognition devices and automatic number plate readers are also in active use. Well, the passenger screenings at bus stands have been stepped up while dog squads inspected public places. And another big news coming in right now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has left for Himachal Pradesh and Punjab to review the situation in the wake of floods and landslides. In a tweet, he had said that the government of India stands shoulder to shoulder with those affected in this tragic hour. In fact, as we told you, big news coming in after Prime Minister cast his vote for the vice presidential election today morning at 10 a.m. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has now left for Himachal Pradesh and Punjab to review the situation in the wake of floods and landslides. In a tweet, he said that the Government of India stands shoulder to shoulder with those affected in this tragic hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has left for Himachal Pradesh and Punjab today to assess the flood situation and review the relief measures right now there. He will visit Himachal Pradesh and Punjab to assess the flood situation and review relief and rehabilitation efforts in both the states. In fact, the Prime Minister will reach Dharamshala in Kangra district of Himachal Pradesh this afternoon in Dharamshala, and he will chair a high-level review meeting also with state authorities and interact with the local residents affected by the disaster. He will also meet personnel from the National Disaster Response Force, State Disaster Response Force and Apada Mitra teams working on the ground. Prime Minister Modi will also undertake an aerial survey of the flood and landslide hit areas of Himachal Pradesh today itself. And for more, we have Gurmeet joining us from Punjab. Gurmeet, Prime Minister is about to be reaching Punjab today in a short while from now. He's already started from here. He's left from here. Could you tell us more about his program today there?
Lipakshi, Prime Minister's visit is first of all quite significant visit. He is going to be in Himachal Pradesh and will undertake an aerial visit over there and aerial survey. And then thereafter he will have a review meeting with the officers at Kangra. And after that, he will come to Doordarshan. And we are at Doordarshan at the moment, and the Prime Minister is slated to be here by 3:30 at about 3 p.m. he will have aerial survey of Punjab in the flood-affected areas, and after that he will have a review meeting. He is also scheduled to meet the flood-affected people over there in Doordarshan, and in addition to that, Prime Minister is also scheduled to meet NDRF, SDRF, and Apada Mitra team, as you have already told to our viewers, and NDRF, SDRF and Apada Mitra teams have been working on the ground level and carrying out their rescue operations here. And right now, Gurdaspur is a place which is highly affected by the floods in Punjab. About 329 villages are affected here, and so Gurdaspur and nearby areas are highly affected. If we talk about Pathankot, Amritsar, Hoshiarpur, Jalandhar, these all areas are highly affected. So Prime Minister's visit is quite important, specifically during the floods at this point in time. And secondly, if we talk about the latest updates that are coming in Punjab, the water started receding in Gurdaspur because earlier the water level was quite high, the flood waters which entered to the fields and the villages of the farmers. Right now this water level has come down and it has given a respite to the farmers. So right now the farmers and the locals over here are expecting a lot from Prime Minister's visit, and they are also excited to see the Prime Minister in Gurdaspur. But first of all, I want to tell you the update that is coming in at the moment. One update is coming from Patiala, second is from Ludhiana, because in both of the places there are few points where the embankments have got weakened and the water has started coming into the villages of the farmers. In Patiala only, there are about 5 to 10 villages where the flood waters have entered to the villages, and in Ludhiana also there are few villages which have witnessed flood waters, and the locals over there are trying to fortify and strengthen the embankments over there. And in totality, we talk about the dams of Punjab. So one dam, only one dam, that is strong dam, it is above the danger mark at the moment, and the rest two dams, that is Bhakra and Ranjit Sagar Dam, are below the danger mark at this moment. So there is a respite for the people in Amritsar, Gurdaspur, Pathankot area, which are the worst affected areas. And since the Prime Minister is visiting Gurdaspur, so that is bringing a sense of expectation among the people over here at the moment.
Gurmeet, we also have Prakash Pant joining us from Shimla right now. Prakash, the Prime Minister will reach Dharamshala in the Kangra district of Himachal Pradesh this afternoon. He's supposed to chair a high-level review meeting with the state authorities and interact with the local residents also affected by the disaster. Could you tell us more?
Lipakshi, I am right now at Dharamshala airport where Prime Minister is scheduled to arrive. And he will be arriving in a short while from now. All arrangements are made. Prime Minister will be meeting, as you said in your report, Prime Minister will be meeting the flood affected people here and the representatives of the flood affected people. And then he will be meeting all the SDRF and NDRF personnel who had played a stellar role in conducting rescue operations here in Himachal Pradesh, which, as you know, is badly devastated by these rains and floods and the cloud burst, this fury of nature. And then he will be chairing a high-level meeting along with the state government officials and the Chief Minister, Governor, all the MPs from the state and senior officials, where he will be given a presentation of the devastation which occurred in the past 1 month of the rain fury. Then Prime Minister will be assuring the people of Himachal Pradesh of all the state center's assistance, and it will be a soothing balm to the people. This visit of Prime Minister,
Absolutely,
for the people of Himachal Pradesh who have been badly devastated, whose more than 400, around 400 people have lost their lives, maximum in this fury. In all the flood affected states, probably Himachal Pradesh is the worst affected with maximum death toll. Then more than 2,000 houses have been totally washed away. All the major highways are blocked. Manali, the main highway from Mandi to Manali linking Kullu is washed away completely. So things are very bad, and Prime Minister's visit will come as a soothing.
Absolutely, Prakash. Prime Minister's visit will come as a soothing balm to the people out there who are troubled with the situation in the state. Also, IMD has not issued any warning as of now for today. How is the weather condition there, Prakash, as of now? Because Prime Minister is also going to undertake an aerial survey of the flood and landslide hit areas of the Himachal Pradesh.
Absolutely. Lipakshi, ironically, now weather is very calm and as if nothing had happened for the past month. So, but Prime Minister will be taking an aerial survey of he will be visiting all the flood ravaged areas through his helicopter. He will be conducting an aerial survey, and he will be briefed by a central team which is currently in Himachal Pradesh, taking stock of the damage as well as to suggest long-term solutions so that no more calamities should come to people of Himachal Pradesh in future.
All right. Thank you so much, Prakash ji, for all the details from there. And Gurmeet is with us again. Well, Gurmeet, Prime Minister's visit in the state is aimed at closely monitoring the relief and rehabilitation efforts to support the people out there of the two states during this difficult time.
See, Lipakshi, Punjab has seen difficult time over the last few weeks since the floods have affected more than 2,000 villages in Punjab. So that is should be taken with a pinch of salt. The Prime Minister, he himself talked to the Chief Minister and Governor of the state when he came back from the SEO summit. And after that, the Union Agriculture Minister has been to the state. He's been to Amritsar, Kapurthala and nearby areas and Gurdaspur also. So he has also took the stock of the situation on the ground level, and now the Prime Minister is here. So one thing that you were just telling our viewers that in his social media post, Prime Minister told that Government of India stands shoulder to shoulder with those affected in this tragic hour. So it itself makes it clear that how much Prime Minister is concerned about the people on ground. And at this point in time, about 51 people have lost their lives in Punjab. So it becomes quite significant when Prime Minister is here. He will undertake an aerial survey of the flood-affected areas, and then he will meet a few flood victims also, and the NDRF, SDRF people, so that he just want to know the ground realities, what is happening on ground, how the people are facing difficulties, what are the challenges on ground. So these are the things which will be considered by Prime Minister while addressing about the situation in state. So in totality, if you see, starting from Amritsar to Patiala, the situation is grim in certain areas till now also, right now also, and Amritsar, Gurdaspur and nearby areas which were worst affected and which are worst affected, and earlier the flood waters was there up to 5 to 6 feet, so water started receding, but the after effects of and the sense of despair among the people and the farmers and the villagers is there. So the Prime Minister's visit becomes quite important and significant at this point in time. Lipakshi.
This tragic hour becomes quite significant for the people out there, a soothing balm for the people. And Prime Minister has also said that the government stands shoulder to shoulder with people in this tragic hour. Thank you so much, Gurmeet, for all those details. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. Well, we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.